We're making generational impacts when we have a meal together, one daily meal after another. Have you had great success with meal plans, or have they ended up in failure in the past for you like they have for me? In this episode, I'm going into the mindset shift and the tools to help make meal planning successful so that you and your family eat well. Is it hard to make healthy food choices and find time to exercise because you're too busy? Welcome to Self-Care for Busy Moms. I'm your host, Susan. That was me, overwhelmed with my kids' schedules, running things smoothly and ignoring the stress that was affecting my body. But then I found ways to bring myself back to health with food, exercise, and Christ. I can't wait to share them with you too. Get your step counter and remember the sunscreen. It's time to get started on your self-care. My free live meal plan Mediterranean Nourish and Flourish workshop is going to go step by step into what a Mediterranean diet looks like. And then we'll look at 3 basic elements that you can prepare in advance that will make it so easy to whip up 3 different Mediterranean meal options for dinner. Your 2026 starts with the workbook that we'll use in the workshop. Print it. Bring a pen, and we're going to fill it out together on January 27 at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. By 12:15 p.m. Central Standard Time, you're going to have meals mapped out for 1 week and the grocery list done. The link to sign up is suroselfcare.myflowdesk.com/workshop. Again, that's SURO selfcare.myflowdesk.com/workshop. You're going to get a downloadable workbook that we will use in the workshop. I will also be giving away a door prize at the event. It's going to be so fun. You're going to want to be there. So are you ready? Hey friend, my history with meal plans is a very sad one. I had so many great intentions and hopes that with every meal plan that I would try, it's going to be an astounding success and I will just nail down meals like a star. But every single plan had a flaw that did not work for either me or for my family, or my kids just didn't like the food, or I would experience so much waste in the process. And my schedule just didn't work sometimes to be able to follow the plan of meals that was actually scheduled. This would result in food going bad and so much waste. How about you? Have you ever tried meal plans? How successful has that been? So I don't know exactly when this happened for me, but I had a mindset shift one day when all of a sudden I actually just realized that I didn't have to slave away and make a new dinner every single night of the week. Honestly, just that one revelation alone lifted so much mental burden. At that time, I was literally running from one dinner meal to the next dinner meal in full panic mode about what to make, what ingredients to buy, how to prepare them. And the things that I would make would be all over the place, catering to whatever my family wanted at the expense of my peace and my sanity. I do want to say here that I want my kids and my family to really enjoy the food that I make. There's really nothing better than that feeling of everyone having had a great meal together. But listen here, I was seriously going from Chinese food one night to Italian food the next night to Korean food another night and then to Mexican food the night after that. And there would be so much leftovers, which I couldn't finish all on my own the very next day for my lunch. So there was just a lot of waste. Another downside is that the family got used to a new meal every night, and it just set things up for added stress and anxiety for me. So having that revelation and realization that, hey, I do not need to make a fresh, new dinner meal every single night gave me the permission to focus on maybe 3 good meals that used similar ingredients for the whole week. The meal could be either made on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or it could be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. it didn't matter which days my meals actually landed on. However, if I planned 3 dinners that I can make from scratch, the leftovers would fill in the days in between the freshly made dinners. Okay, so as I was living my life, focusing on making these 3 solid dinner meals a week, and life seemed pretty good, and I'm not as stressed at this point, but here's the thing. There was another amazing shift and a change for me and my attitude with meal plans when ChatGPT entered the picture. You could use ChatGPT or you could use Grok or any other AI tools out there, but finally, I was able to make a meal plan that was tailored to what my family enjoys and to our dietary needs and our constraints and our preferences. So here is the process that I will walk you through step by step to get your meal plan for the week with reduced waste and maximum taste with minimum number of ingredients. Isn't that just music to a busy mama's ears? That was to mine. And I have fully embraced using ChatGPT in my meal planning and for helping me to organize my meals for my family with a grocery list. So grab your pen and paper. This is going to be good. So the first step in this process is to, number 1, get a list of favorite foods and types of food that your family wants. Include your kids in this. Your kids can help brainstorm here. You want to just brain dump, if you will, a whole bunch of dinner ideas or meal ideas that your family will enjoy eating. Because the worst thing is to be able to be excited to make something only to realize that nobody likes that type of food. Tell me how I know? Yeah, that's happened to me so many times. So you definitely want to get input from your family on what they want. Once you have an idea of a list of foods or meals that they want, then you want to interface that with what you enjoy. And are there some common things that are common to everyone? So for my family, it would be Mediterranean food, Mexican food, some types of Korean food, Indian food as well would be on the list. The next step, step 2, would be then to decide on one type of cuisine and to do a search on ChatGPT on 3 recipes of that type of cuisine. And then you tailor the recipe to your dietary needs and to reduce the number of ingredients if you would like. So for example, for this step 2, if I wanted to do Chinese food for my family one week, I would do a search on ChatGPT for 3 dishes that I think my family will enjoy and ask ChatGPT to tailor it to my particular diet and to reduce the number of ingredients to less than 6 or 7, or maybe even 5 or less ingredients, whatever I happen to be thinking at that particular moment. So for example, my family really enjoys certain dishes at Panda Express. They would be beef and broccoli, chicken and green beans, and their famous orange chicken. So how I would tailor this to my family and plan for this is to do a search on ChatGPT for beef and broccoli, chicken and green beans, and orange chicken. Then I would have ChatGPT simplify the recipe for 5 ingredients or less. I may also tell ChatGPT to make this gluten-free, and voila, you've got a plan for the week for Chinese food at home. 1 dish for each night, say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the days in between would be for finishing up leftovers. You can set out a time in your week to plan for meals. So go ahead, plan out your menu with the help of ChatGPT. Then you can have ChatGPT give you a shopping list of the recipes that you've worked on. You'll just need to cross-reference the shopping list with what you already have in your pantry and in your fridge. I would say this whole process could take you less than 20 minutes. My recommendation to you based upon my experience is to focus on one type of cuisine first and then move on to another type of cuisine, only because the typical ingredients and the seasonings that go into one type of cuisine are really dramatically different from another type. So you don't want so many leftovers from one meal that you can't use for another meal in a different cuisine if you're planning for that in the same week. So that's why this is my reason why I focus on one type of cuisine, like Chinese or Indian or Italian or Mediterranean, each week, and finish up with all of the ingredients as much as I can before I move on to another type of cuisine. So quickly to summarize so far, you have had input from your family on what they want, and then you cross-reference that with what you like. That was step 1. Then step 2, you're going to go to ChatGPT to look up some recipes, and then have that recipe tailored to maybe a number of ingredients, like 5 or less, and to your particular dietary constraints. The third point here is now to go and get your ingredients, organize the groceries, and plan on batch prepping if necessary. So you can chop all your vegetables one day, or as you're preparing your meal, pre-chop some extra veggies to go for the next time. The fourth step is to just live your life. Go ahead and plan to make what you want to make on the days that you plan to make them, but guess what? Life happens. And what happens if you realize that you have a schedule change and you're not going to be able to be home for dinner that one night that you planned to make a particular meal? Well, this is why I keep my meal planning very loose and flexible. I have the ingredients ready to go to make what I plan, but if plans change, I can plan to make that the next day, since there's wiggle room in my meal planning and I don't have an excess amount of food that's going to go bad really fast. I plan 3 to 4 dinner meals each week because the days in between are to finish leftovers or to give us space if plans change. This is where it's so important to have a pretty well-stocked pantry so that it's relatively easy to be able to whip up a pasta meal or mac and cheese or anything of that sort if we have more meals at home than I planned. The meal that I really try to focus on is our dinner meal, and I try to plan that out well because that is the meal that our family eats together at the table. What we do for breakfast and lunch is very casual. Breakfast is usually whatever the kids can put together in the morning easily or with my help if it's too difficult. Sometimes it's eggs or a breakfast sandwich or tacos, or it's cereal or granola with yogurt, something really easy. Or even oatmeal, those instant oatmeals that they can add hot water to. If everyone is home for lunch because it's maybe break time from school or it's a holiday, we're usually eating leftovers from the dinner before, or we may put together a quick panini sandwich, or I may have a casserole that I made earlier that's great as leftovers as well. We really love leftovers. So even though our family has dinner together, maybe your family has breakfast together because of your work schedule. Then focus on making those breakfast meals memorable. Find a time in the day for the family to gather around the table and have a meal. It could be lunch, it could be breakfast, but for us, it happens to be dinner. Why should we even bother to take the time and the effort to make a meal plan? Well, because 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31 says, "Whatever you eat or drink or whatever you do, you must do all for the glory of God." Meal planning helps us busy moms to have a strategy and a plan to get a meal on the table so that our family can eat well, be nourished, and for good conversations to abound around the table. It's a time to reconnect, to catch up, to make memories, and this has repercussions that span out to so many other areas in their lives and in our lives. We're making generational impacts when we have a meal together, one daily meal after another. I hope that you found something inspirational here that will help you be consistent on meal planning and also being consistent in making a meal so that your family can gather around the table and you can speak into their lives about Jesus and make a generational impact in your children and in your grandchildren to come. Don't forget to sign up for the free workshop. You'll get the tools to make better eating choices because you're finally paying attention to your body's needs. The free workshop will be on Tuesday, January 27 at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. You'll need to register to be there, and there's going to be a door prize. Don't miss out. The link is suroselfcare.myflowdesk.com/workshop. Again, that's suroselfcare.myflowdesk.com/workshop. You can also go to my website at suroselfcareforbusymoms.com. Again, that's suroselfcareforbusymoms.com, and there will be a link there to join. God bless you, sister. Hey, Mama. Thank you for listening to the end. If you enjoyed today's episode, would you bless another mom who's looking for simple routines to feel healthy again? Also, please leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcast. I'm always so encouraged to know that this podcast is helping you. Together, we can encourage one another for long-term strength and health because it matters to our families and for future generations to come. Just a reminder that I am not a substitute for medical advice. God bless you.